Before I start this video, I want to make it clear that what happened to Baterbonia and Divine Adeli is a tragedy, and their families deserve justice. Whether it was foul play or negligence, the personnel of Ateneo must be held accountable. And it is fine for you or for anyone to grieve and mourn their deaths. Even though you are not related, their lives and efforts have inspired or resonated with many people. So it doesn't matter if people weren't fans of them before their deaths. However, with how the situation had progressed, the conversation turned away from safety in sports or accountability and more into mourning the loss of a young Filipino, which is understandable, but it's turned into something that feels exploitative, meant to be used as content rather than respect. Born on May 8, 2008 in Agusan del Sur, he joined Ateneo de Davao University's basketball team. He was named MVP of the 65th Palawang Pambansa basketball tournament after helping his team win the gold medal, subsequently being called up to the UAAP basketball team of Ateneo de Manila. Baterbonia would also appear in the following Palawang Pambansa, where his team won a silver medal. While Baterbonia was not the golden child of Philippine basketball, he was definitely a rising player in the field. Just 2 weeks after the tournament, Baterbonia and Adeli tragically lost their lives. Now, you would expect that the appropriate move was to give the affected families time and space to mourn their loss, but the family of Baterbonia decided to open the wake to the public, which, as it turns out, turned what was supposed to be a wake into some sort of twisted spectacle. First, it was alumni of Ateneo, which does make sense, but soon, random celebrities and politicians were joining into the mix. Before the funeral, media attention on Baterbonia was already relatively high, so it was a no-brainer that media coverage of his funeral would be present. But what I'm more concerned with is the amount of people filming the family and the casket and what they're using it for. Like, it's most likely that the family allowed filming, but at what line is it between a sincere motive and something that people are capitalizing on? Because this funeral is well documented. Of course, with this much attention on the situation, many who are not too invested began to formulate a more critical perception, criticizing this seemingly worshipping of a basketball player, calling out clout chasers or those who pose as fans or supporters after his death. Some do not share this deep connection, questioning this extent of a tribute with the likes of a saint. But this deep connection wasn't made up. Numerous factors make this case so captivating for many Filipinos. Baterbonia's family were beneficiaries of the 4-piece program. So for a relatively unknown and impoverished athlete who came from a region that wasn't particularly dominant on the national stage, to bring pride to said region was a story that many people resonated with. The tragic loss of a mother's child was also another factor of the situation that many resonated with. Even my mother is captivated by videos of Baterbonia and becomes emotional. Baterbonia wasn't just admired because of his skills, but also who he was. So it's not unreasonable that many would become interested in Baterbonia's life. I think any Filipino who met a tragic end and received media coverage would many resonate with. What I think a lot of people are more critical of in Baterbonia's case is the amount of attention he received. More specifically, attention in the form of social media. What was supposed to be mourning for a lost soul soon became a distorted story via different social media posts about Baterbonia. AI-generated tribute songs profiting off of millions of views, hour-long AI-generated songs, people generating images of them sitting beside him, thousands visiting his home, treating it like a museum, using his family to promote their businesses, his brothers becoming popular just because they're related, people fantasizing of being his family member, making disturbing photos, creating a statue for him, which wouldn't be too weird if they didn't use random people's hair and eyebrow.
Wow!
Mo nang ganahan skinhead. Para mamingwit mignaw ra ba?
Wow!
Baterbonia. So,
Kinsa pa'y mata karon, kapit lang.
so kung kinsa pa'y mata karon,
Buhok.
Kasi mapili mong dunggan. Naganoy.
Bay, butang.
Treating him like a saint. Numerous of vloggers treating Baterbonia's family as a content form. No matter who you do this to, this is not healthy. Now I, nor anyone, can advocate that people should stop doing this, but it's not without reason to say that this feels exploitative. The mother of Baterbonia has called out these exploits, but proceeds to sell perfume at Baterbonia. If the family can profit off of this, then I respect their decision. But it doesn't make the entire situation any better when people are becoming obsessed over the situation, while vloggers are using any bit of the family and the situation as content. And unfortunately, because of this attention, many have begun to use Baterbonia as a meme, users mocking fans at Baterbonia at the expense of his dignity. And while you could argue this is a lack of empathy, you could also say that for the fans of Baterbonia who keep on posting whatever about him without much consideration of how it actually may affect anyone. Look, I'm not gonna go into some sort of like psychological effect here or trying to like conceptualize a problem in society here, but I'm just saying, why do we want to be a family member or a girlfriend or a partner of a random basketball player that most people have probably never heard of in their lives? And now just because he died, everyone felt like they're their biggest fans. Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm not saying that Baterbonia was like an unknown athlete, but like I'm just saying, like, this much attention wasn't there when he was still playing or when he was still alive. It just came after his passing, and it just feels really inauthentic in a way. It just feels really weird to have so many people love a person to this extent of going thousands of kilometers just to visit his house and visit his funeral. Treating Baterbonia like a tourist attraction, just let the guy rest. Let's not treat a man as a saint, a lover, a friend. You can admire him, you can celebrate him, you can support his family, but let's not treat the man as content. He was a person, not a toy for people to play with.